Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. I just decided today to do kind of a summary of my fast and the overall experience from fasting for 2 weeks. So, some of my friends had some questions in my family about some of the things I experienced, and I figured it'd be nice to create a video just to go over some of those, just in case anybody that has been watching this has any sort of questions on it. I'm going to try and keep it fairly short, just a couple of common questions that I've gotten, and that's really about it. So, yeah, thanks for watching if you're tuning in. And remember to like and subscribe, comment on the video if you're interested. I do have another plan for another experiment in a week or two that I'll give some more information on a little bit later. But yeah, let's get right into probably the most popular question that I received. So probably the most common question that I've gotten was it hard? Was it difficult? And the short answer is yes, more so towards the end, but it really wasn't as difficult as I thought. I had a couple days where it was pretty rough. But the more I've looked into it, the more I think it was because I was electrolyte deficient and not so much just from not eating. And as a result, not that I recommend anybody do it without consulting a doctor or something first, but one thing I would definitely suggest is not to do just strictly water, especially if you haven't really done it before. I had done a couple of like 1, 2, 3 day fasts, so my body was a little bit prepared. And I think that's part of the reason I may have been pretty well prepared to at least to start with. But overall, I would say on like a 1 to 10, with 10 being like unbearable, I would say overall it was about a 6.5 to a 7. And it really was just that I love eating food and I missed food was the main reason I decided to give it up and to break my fast last Sunday. But overall, it was not a bad experience. I don't know that I would do another 14-day fast like that again, but I could definitely see myself doing like a 5 day or another 7 day. Another question that I've been getting is the differences in how I felt during the fast and outside of the fast. So, for example, now that I've been out of my fast for about a week, the main difference I noticed is my body temperature. Is I was cold a lot, and typically I'm really not one who gets cold. So that was the main thing that I really noticed. I would be sitting down in my living room and I would need to put on a pair of sweatpants, whereas I usually just wear shorts and I'm fine. And when I was in bed, I'd be covered up the entire time and never take my blanket off, along with wearing sweatpants. And I typically sleep in my boxers, so that's something that was pretty new. Otherwise, the whole focus a lot of people talk about with being super focused while they're fasting, I would say overall is true, at least to a certain point. I did feel more focused at work, at least in the beginning for the first several days. And then as I got, I think, what I was electrolyte deficient, it did get a little bit more difficult to stay focused. Overall, I think I slept pretty well, so that wasn't really anything different. I slept less, I would say, than I normally do. Otherwise, another one is what was weird is I would get short of breath really easily. So even just going upstairs, I would start kind of huffing and puffing, and just after sitting in my desk talking on the phone for a while, I'd notice myself a little bit short of breath. And my workouts, I had to tone down quite a bit. Not so much because my body was tired, but yeah, I just was winded, so I couldn't really continue on. That's really about it that I noticed, and I had this really weird, bad taste in my mouth too. It's hard to explain. It's keto breath, I think, is something they may call it, or it's like a little bit sweet. But really, those are the main things that I can think of off the top of my head. There really wasn't a whole lot significantly different. I felt pretty normal, other than the fact that I was a little bit tired and cold, and that's really about it. The big question that I get as well fairly often, and if you watch my videos, you probably know, but was how much weight did you lose total and did you keep it off? So the total weight from start to finish was 20, basically 27 pounds. And the short answer, did I keep it off, is no. I've been actually really frustrated with how much of it I gained back. I'm holding out hope that a lot of it I gained back is like water weight, where my system, after going so long without eating, it's kind of a shock factor. And so I'm hoping that a lot of the weight that I gained this week will come off pretty quickly, is my goal. So I hope to be down under 300 pounds by the end of the month, whereas at the end of the fast, I was at 302. And I've gained a lot of that weight back, which is frustrating because the 2 weeks, like, it wasn't that it was like super difficult, but I mean, I love food, and having to go that long and to see the results not really there at this point because I've gained so much weight back. And I haven't cheated on my diet. I've kept it pretty much the same as I was doing before. I eased my way over a couple days into my regular eating pattern. So it's not like I've been just eating as much as I possibly can. One thing I also am noticing is my stomach really doesn't seem to have shrank that much. I feel I can still eat close to as much as I did, which is something I've seen other people have reported they felt that they could eat less. But I thought that was a little bit strange, as I still can eat exactly what I could before. And that kind of transitions into the next question. I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but about what I notice now compared to before. So, another question that more so my family have been asking those who know I've been doing this fast is, do I notice anything different now that I'm out of my fast? And their short answer is there are some things I do notice. What's been weird, unless I forgot how good I really felt, I've just felt really good for some reason. I don't really know what it is. I just feel like I have a ton of energy. I feel at the gym, like for cardio, for example, I feel I can go harder than I could before. The lifting has kind of dropped a little bit from what I was doing before, but I also took about a week and a half where I really didn't do any sort of lifting, so I have to kind of get my way back into it. As for other things, is a sensitivity and an improved sensitivity to food in general in terms of tastes, specifically sweet. So, for example, one of my shakes that I drink, I used to add liquid stevia to it, which is basically the equivalent of about a tablespoon of sugar. And now I actually think it's perfectly plenty sweet as it is. And the same with like Zevia soda, for example. I used to think Zevia wasn't sweet enough. And now it actually is about perfectly sweet. It seems to have gotten sweeter, which I know obviously it hasn't. It's, I think, just because my taste buds have adjusted to going so long without food. But yeah, I felt really good. I did notice that as well. I feel my focus is not quite where it was. Like when I'm working, I find it easier to get distracted than it was during my fast. But it's really nothing of significance. I don't feel as mentally sharp. Like I find myself kind of forgetting little things here and there. Not much, but compared to how it was when I was fasting, I felt like I literally could remember everything. It was weird. It was bizarre. But those are really the main things. I felt a little bit bloated, I think, which could just be because my system wasn't used to having food after not having it for 2 weeks. And yeah, those are really the main things I've noticed more recently. Other than that, everything I'd say feels pretty much the same as it did before. The last question I'm going to go over is, do I regret or am I overall just happy that I did it? And do I regret it? I would say at this point, not yet. The weight factor, though, I mean, if I lose the weight slowly now that I gained back, that would probably make me more likely to say yes, I regret doing it. However, I like the improved taste sensitivity that I have, and also that I've been feeling really good. Like I feel refreshed, reinvigorated. So as of right now, I would say I am happy I did it. Also, just to be able to say that I did it, because going 2 weeks without food, I mean, I know there are people out there that have gone longer, and I'm not trying to one up anybody. I'm pretty proud of the fact that I was able to go 2 weeks, even though I did want to go 30 days. So I think it proved a lot of willpower for me. It proved that I really am capable of doing a lot that I wasn't sure about. Like if this was a year ago, I never in a million years would have thought of even considering something like this, even if it did help me rapidly lose weight. But overall, I'm glad I had the experience with it. And like I said, I don't know that I would do a 2 week fast again. But I could see myself definitely doing some more somewhat extended, like 3, 5, 7 day fasts, at least until I get down to my goal weight. But again, I can't recommend anybody do this without double checking. I know there are certain medical conditions that can affect it, or if you're pregnant. So please double check if it's something you're considering doing. And please take electrolytes with it. If you're going to do just a water fast, take electrolytes. It will make your life a lot easier. You will feel a lot better. That's what I did notice, and I think was ultimately my downfall, other than just missing food. But I think when I took electrolytes, I did seem to feel quite a bit better. So I appreciate you guys watching this. Those of you who tuned in, if anybody's watching that has any other questions for me, definitely let me know. I'd be happy to answer anything that I kind of experienced or just questions or thoughts that you had. Um, but yeah, thanks for watching. I will post another video probably next week that does go into detail. I want to get down a little bit closer to the weight that I think I should be, I guess, after the fast for my next experiment, because I don't want to give the wrong impression that I lose a whole bunch of weight doing the something for 30 days again, when some of it is just related to this water weight that I'm hoping it's water weight that I gained back from this extended fast. So there'll be more to come on that probably next week. Otherwise, yeah, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon.